All right, you board game degenerates. Welcome to Crowdfunding Countdown, where we take a look at every single board game campaign finishing up this week, and some that aren't even board games, some that are just funny. And we're going to get right into it. But before we do, I have some new patrons to thank. I'm filming this a little bit earlier in the week to try to get ahead of things as I prepare to go to Dice Tower West. If you're going to Dice Tower West, let me know. I'll see you there. I'm running a World Series of Board Gaming regional qualifier there. So you may miss a shout out as the hordes of patrons come pouring in to support the channel, and especially this show in particular. But a huge shout out goes out to our newest patrons, Elaine and Keith. Thank you so much for jumping on board. You're friggin' great. Elaine was the one who you can thank for bringing to light Roll and Meow last week. I'm fairly certain that was you, Elaine, or it was another Elaine, in which case I'm going to give you all the credit for it anyway. I saw a lot of people saying Roll and Meow in the comments last week, so you can thank Elaine directly for that. And I'd like to thank both Elaine and Keith for jumping on board, supporting the channel, and all of my patrons. As always, you're all incredible people. Better than the Dalai Lama. Better than, well, Mother Teresa, but she's a monster. And especially better than Renee. I just made her sad, so I take it back. I don't take it back. No good peanut gallery reaction. That's okay. Let's get right into the week. We got a lot of campaigns this week. Some of them might even be good, and some of them are Dim Sum Duel of the Dumpling. A fast-paced card game for two players competing over who can cook and eat more dumplings. That sounds like a game for me and Renee, honestly, that we play every day of our lives since we just got that sweet steamer. Invest in a bamboo steamer. It'll be the best decision of your life. Pick for you, spoiler alert, is going to be a bamboo steamer. Let's check this one out. This might be good. It might be okay. It might be bad. But it does have dumplings, so we know it's going to be good. Honestly, I'm much more excited about this than I thought I would be. My favorite part is that, yeah, sure, each round 5 to 10 minutes, strategic planning, who cares? The better part is that you can cook, eat, block, or set the kitchen on fire. I just think that's very funny. This also reminds me of an anime called Food Wars, Shokugeki. If you haven't watched it, well, it's the weirdest anime that I really enjoy a bunch. Basically, there's cooking battles, and if your cooking is delicious, the judge's clothes will explode off in delight. It's very funny. But what I do like about this game is that everybody gets the same deck of cards, and the exciting part about the game is that you can organize this in whatever manner you want. And so you're going to organize this before you really play the game. You're going to figure out your strategy. If you like deck construction, this might appeal to you, but you're constructing the order, not the actual cards, because the actual cards are going to be the same in both players' categories. And I think that's really neat. I don't believe I've seen something like that before. I'm sure it exists, but I like that each person gets that same deck of cards, and you can count what everybody else is playing, and then that creates the back and forth, and that creates the strategy, which is really neat. Now, I would envision this, as Kickstarter card games go, to be $20 US, but it's actually 14 US, $20 Canadian. Okay. That's decent, you know? 5 to 15 minutes, 2-player head-to-head dim sum game. Seriously, go check out Food Wars. It's the most absurd thing, but it's got that great anime story arc of one person being really, really good and then having to go through like levels of people taking them out. Did you like Food Wars, Renee?
No. Everyone's clothes just kept popping off.
It is weird that everyone's clothes keep popping off, but they actually talk about it. They're like, oh, the grand chef, he didn't bare his chest for the food. Because he's like, oh, this is so tasty. And as we know, maybe that's where I got the bit of a game making you want to take off all your clothes and slather yourself with red pepper jelly. Not a scene in the anime, but could have fit right in. Estimating most shipments to be between $6 to $8. So yeah, $20 all in for this little card game. That seems pretty neat. And the fact that they talk about shipping even before they talk about how to play the game, well, I'm into it. And this right here is saying, hey, don't get this. Here's what people who didn't enjoy the game had to say. I think this is a very upfront and cool campaign. And the emphasis here being the take that mechanic because you have the blocking cards, right? The mechanics are very simple. You only have a small amount of cards. You have dumplings, you have steamers, and then you have ways to block each other's steamers and dumplings. So while the organizing of it may be exciting, I don't think you're going to get that much strategic depth here, but I do think it looks kind of cute. And I do think what's cool is that you have to remember the order that you put it in. So with them all being the same, trying to remember, do I have a dumpling there that I can use, is kind of interesting because you have your set deck and then you can't look at it. So I like that. There's a lot here. I think it's a very reasonable price point as well, reasonable shipping. And don't forget, you can also set the kitchen on fire. What more could you want in a Kickstarter game? This, I thought, wasn't going to be interesting, and I am interested and excited, and it pumps me up for the rest of the episode. So great job, Dim Sum Duel of the Dumpling. I'm thrilled that it's raised its goal, and if you're interested in that finishes Wednesday, March 8th at 4:59 p.m. Moving along, just quickly, we've covered this in the past when it was on GameFound. It's called Utopia. Change the past to control the future in this time-hopping board game for 1 to 5 players. And I thought this game actually looked quite fun. It only has 10 backers over on Kickstarter, and I thought this is a weird small goal for a game that looks like it would be very large. And then I looked at it and immediately remembered that we covered it and that I thought it looked good. You're going to be going through time, basically, and you're going to be recruiting all these different members, historical figures in the past, recruiting them onto your... because you are a time baron, hell-bent on reordering history to set off a chain reaction that will bring about your utopian vision for the world. And as you go along, you can trigger these objectives, basically, and that'll change the future and will unlock different objectives that you have to go down the pathway. So there's a bunch of different historical characters, a bunch of different objectives that you're trying to trigger as you go through. It's a worker placement. I remember feeling like this was expensive, and it is. It's £60, $99 Canadian, which is tough. That's the base one. The deluxe pledge is £80. And basically, you're going to be trying to collect these different symbols, and you'll use those symbols to change the future, right? You can see the little butterfly effect here. If you've interacted with all these different symbols, you can then change the future. That's the basic premise of the game. But I remember it being expensive, £20 shipping to Canada. So it'd be $131 to get to my door. And this is something that I would love to see in retail. I don't think it'll end up in retail, but I'd love to see it in retail. I think the mechanics of it look interesting. So if you missed that when we talked about it earlier, back when it was on GameFound, you can check this out. But we already talked about it, so I'm not going to talk about it too much more. But if you want to get it on Kickstarter for some reason, because the late pledge isn't open on GameFound, I bet it is. Likely just trying to get choose rewards, add to pledge. You can't add items to your pledge at this time, so I don't know if you can late pledge or not. Maybe they were just trying to hit the Kickstarter market, in which case they did. All 10 of them. Anyway, if you're interested in that, it finishes Thursday, March 9th at 10 a.m. if you want to be the 11th backer. But this one does look good, legitimately. But I thought it looked good when it was first step. Next up, this wins Pick of the Pun this week. This is the Pun of Kilforth right here. Should that be a category? Maybe. If I Were a Lich Man. This title brings me so much joy. 3 Jewish games by Lucien Kahn, a trilogy of funny Jewish role-playing games about creative resistance against authoritarianism. I wish there wasn't a comma between Lich and Man, because I wish you were a Lich Man in there and not a Lich Man, but I'll give it a pass for that. And here are the 3 Jewish role-playing games. If I Were a Lich Man, Liches debate strategies for survival against murderous lawful good paladins. Incredible. Same bat time, same bat mitzvah. A guest was bitten by a vampire bat and is transformed into a vampire during a formal reception. Very funny. And Grandma's Drinking Song. I don't know what that's a pun on, but I'm into it. A singing game about a matriarchal Jewish family of bootleggers during Prohibition.
If I was a Lich Man.
Yeah, I know.
If I was a Lich Man.
I know that's the song. That's why I thought it was funny. Recommended for fans of What We Do in the Shadows, Russian Doll, and Young Frankenstein. That's great. It tells you kind of the world or the sense of humor that you want to know. And $40 for all 3, and you get 4 wooden dreidels too. Great. Or $12 for the... Oh no, this is available, a community copy, making a copy of the collection available for someone who wouldn't be otherwise able to afford it. Standard PDF is $20 US, $30 Canada. $30 Canada. That's our official currency. Yeah, I think this looks funny, and I'm not going to go into too much detail about RPGs, but it made me laugh, so of course I'm going to share it with all of you. That finishes March 9th at 3:01 p.m. if you're interested. Moving along to a print and play polyomino game, Chateau. This is another one of those €5 single sheet print and play games. This is single sheet though, so if that turns your crank, we'll see. Let's check it out. Cute. Very simple little print and play where you're going to have a map and you're going to try to scratch a whole bunch of dirt all over the floors before anyone else can. And that's how you officially know you've claimed the chateau for yourself in the traditional French custom of dumping dirt on someone else's house. That's true. You'll roll some dice. That'll give you an option of shapes. And then you'll put those shapes into your chateau. You want to get the most points. Rules very close to the top of the page, which I love. And it's €5 for a simple print and play. If you like this sort of stuff, oh, amazing. Very nice rule sheet as well. Very simple. It's 2 pages of rules. Everything that I said is basically what it is. You get some special abilities in there, and we all love special abilities. Oh, and this is cute. Even though it's a single sheet, you get 5 different shapes of chateau. And you can upgrade if you want more chateau shapes. And for only €199, you get a actual chateau somewhere in the world, but you do only have a 48-hour period to find it and dump dirt all over the floor. So it's kind of a risk, kind of not though. Maybe it's close to you. Worth pursuing and considering. Yeah, very reasonable price points. It's the same as it usually is, €5, $5 US. That seems to be the standard going rate for print and play. So if you really want to make my eyeballs pop out of my head like I'm a cartoon character, well then you should price it at $4, and I'll go just crazy for it because I love a deal. Anyway, if you're interested in that, it looks cute enough. I don't really print this sort of stuff out for me personally, but if you do, check it out. That finishes March 9th at 4 p.m. Moving along over to GameFound, we have Huang by Phalanx Games. Unite the warring states of ancient China under your dynasty through wars and revolts in an elegant, fast, and highly addictive game for 2 to 5 players. And I think this is by Reiner Knizia as well. Reiner Knizia's name is at least on top, so I'll assume that's what it is. Thank you, Our Family Plays Games. Now I know that it's based off of Yellow and Yangtze, which was also kind of like Tigris and Euphrates, if I remember. Let's see. Yangtze? I'm feeling a little Yangtze these days. Yangtze. I think it's Yellow and Yangtze. There's a joke here. that doesn't work. Yellow and Hanky Panky, that's the Spicify version. Well, of course there's going to be 42 yellow tiles. We know what it was based off of. No Yankst happening here. Did it work? Yeah, no. It'll work. It'll work. The shipping prices are going to make me Yanksty, though. €16. So it's really like €61. So 84 Canadian for the standard pledge, which is apparently 55% off MSRP. I don't believe it. Oh, no, the 55% is from the deluxe version. I can believe that because deluxe versions have more scarcity. See, this is why I love GameFound. There's a lovely tab on the side that says rules. I don't even mind that it's not at the top of the page. I do. I'm incredibly yangsty about it. Oh yeah, so it's Tigris and Euphrates. That's what this is. I heard Yellow and now I can't even say the actual title. I knew that it was very similar to Tigris and Euphrates. This is telling me that it is very similar to Tigris and Euphrates. You can do a number of things on your turn. You can do 2 actions. You're going to be positioning your leaders and placing tiles, or you're going to try to take over other people's areas. And you're going to be fighting over territory, basically. But this is kind of neat. This isn't in Tigris and Euphrates. You can remove stuff from the board now by discarding your own tiles. But other than that, this is very similar to Tigris and Euphrates. You're going to take turns placing tiles down, and whenever you place that color, if you have a leader of the same color, you get a point of that color. But your score is Knizia scoring, so it is the lowest value plus any wild white tokens that you're able to collect over the course of the game that will give you your final score. So it's your lowest score. So if I have 100 yellow, but I only have 2 red, my score is 2, and I played horribly. But this is great, actually. This is coming back. I mean, I'd rather see Tigris and Euphrates get a reprint, but this is getting a little bit of a reprint, which is nice. I like Phalanx. I think they've done really good stuff. This looks like a nice version. $80 or something. I got my copy of Tigris and Euphrates for $60. This was before it was out of print. This was a few years ago, so inflation, whatever. But that's not bad then. if it's 80 something Canadian and I got mine for like 60, 64, 65 new, you're basically just paying the shipping. And if you've been drooling over Tigris and Euphrates and you haven't had a chance to get it, I really enjoy that game. And I know whenever you talk about something that's kind of out of print, it puts people into a fervor of desire. Well, this should be able to quell that fervor very significantly. I don't think I would ever be interested in this because I own Tigris and Euphrates and I see very little differences other than the map being hexagons and a couple little tweaks that I think will be interesting. And I think Tigris and Euphrates is good, so I have no doubt that this will also be good. So yeah, if you want to get Huang for yourself, well, that finishes the 9th at 5 p.m. Thursday. Well, yeah, games are fun. Imagine that. I'm having a good time. I was a little tired before I started this, and I'm having a great time hanging out with you. So let's keep those good times rolling with the Blacksmiths of Steinnheimr. Light up the forge and strike the anvil as you compete to be the top blacksmith in this worker placement game for 2 to 4 players. I like worker placement. I like smith. Yeah, this one seems cute as well. RuneShield games first created. That's cool. Oh, I didn't guess. I was going to guess how much it was going to be, but that's reasonable right now. $38 US, $52 Canadian for a pretty basic worker placement game. You're going to put your person down, get stuff, use that stuff to get upgrades that is only for you. And then person with the most points wins. There's a bunch of points on the cards. 54 item cards, 20 town cards, 26 upgrade cards, 1 game board, 110 resource tokens, 7 dwarves. Yes, those 7 dwarves. They finally kicked Snow White to the curb because all she was doing was giving them scurvy because she ate all of their fruit. And they've gone off to start their own small business. Small business because they're... Rulebook, very close to the top of the page, although I doubt I'll need it. 6 pages, let's guess. 8 pages, yeah. The player who most recently worked in a forge is the starting player. Okay, so dwarves start out on the board and everybody gets 1 dwarf. So the reason there are 7 dwarves, this is also kind of a cool twist to the worker placement genre. I just wanted to see exactly how it worked, and it works very simply. This starts with some dwarves on the board, and on your turn you put a dwarf on the board and take that action, and then you take a dwarf off the board and take that action. So you actually get 2 actions in your turn, and then there'll be a little ebb and flow about what actions you leave open for the taking for your opponent to take. Although I guess you basically get any action you want any time then, right? Because there will always be either dwarves on there or not on there. And so I guess it'll only be the order of which will be important. That seems less exciting now for a worker placement game because everything being available to you all the time doesn't interest me. You get sick of it if everything's always available to you. Because even if I take my dwarf off of a spot, I'm actually just opening it. And if I put my dwarf on that spot, well, then you can just take it on your turn anyway. So it doesn't really feel like it's a worker placement then. It just feels like it's action selection. And you don't need the dwarves at all. I guess the order is important. The dwarves determine the order. Because you always have to place and then pull. And so when you're converting resources, as this game is kind of about, you need to collect stuff and then convert it. Having things in the wrong order might provide that strategic depth. Okay, I'm kind of back on board. I'm not sure how this will work in practice, but I'm not going to write it off just yet. Oh, and it only ships to the United States. They should have that friggin' up top before you get to the shipping. That's annoying. It's $15 to ship to the United States, so it's 53-ish for 1 copy. Or it'll be 50 each. You get a discount of $3 each if you go in with somebody else. Yeah, I was more excited about this than the double action. I feel like the double action doesn't... It makes it unique, and then it also kind of makes it probably less strategic. But I like the art. Seems fun enough. If you want another worker placement, check it out. That finishes Thursday, March 9th at 6 p.m. Moving along to Ascension Tactics Inferno, a standalone expansion to the wildly popular Ascension Tactics game. And it was funded in 4 minutes. See, what you don't know is that they had this as their tagline when they funded, and they were just really hoping that it was the truth. All right, this looks kind of cool. Ascension is a fairly well-known deck-building system at this point, well-known by others, not me, I haven't played it. And this brings sort of a tactical skirmish game to that deck building aspect as well. One of the things that they were showcasing in the video is that, hey, make sure to add the 50 plus Kickstarter exclusive minis to your pledge, because they're Kickstarter exclusive and you'll never get them anywhere else. But they are also reprinting any of the other minis from their previous campaigns where you may have never gotten them from anywhere else. No, I think that's great. I think it's great for people who are excited or got into the system later and who want to purchase them. They have the molds already, so might as well print them for people. But that also means it's going to be expensive. With the minis, it's $135 US or $184 Canadian. That's before shipping, as opposed to more than double what the game would cost you, $60 US or $82 Canadian to get. So you'd better be interested in these minis if you're going to spend that much on them, but they look cool. I mean, that's true. Let's see more specifics about the game if they have a rulebook. Well, they at least have Groot. Sorry, Virak. The original Ascension Tactics was back in 2020, in case you were curious. Rules are kind of, there's nothing that says rulebook, but it does, you just have to read. And it'll say, click here for the complete original Ascension Tactics rulebook and to preview some of the new rules, which is great. The new things that this one is going to bring, I think it's kind of interesting because you're going to be trying to move your champions around the board. You get to pick your champions beforehand, the people that you're going to be fighting with, and then you deck build to give them abilities, which feels fun to me, feels like that'll switch things up pretty consistently, but it also means that maybe your character will never be able to do anything that they feel like they should do. But here we're going to have an ability to transform champions. So Emma Ironheart can put on her Mecha Ironheart suit. That's why they called her Ironheart. And just different types of champions as well. Oh, this is cool. I like this. These are quest cards that you can complete and then they act as like a buff. But when you draw them, you actually get to draw an additional card, which is huge because then it doesn't take up a spot in your deck. Because as we all know from Attack on Titan, the deck building game, Thomas Wagner is a useless card because it just lets you draw a card and doesn't do anything else. And so it takes up a spot in your deck where you can draw a card and not do anything else. I mean, I guess when I phrase it like that, you can also use them to avoid wounds. You can just not play them if you have one wound. Opens your deck up. I hate to give that to Zach, but maybe I'll just cut that too. So this is huge in terms of it not taking up a spot in your deck, and you can always be trying to achieve this quest when you have it in your hand. That seems neat. And then these are just new text, new special abilities, and some updated terrain as well. Nice. This seems pretty fun. Oof. And then you get to the shipping. $25 to get to the US. Yikes. And that's the base amount of shipping. There is no subsidizing happening here. You can see when companies subsidize, and then you can certainly see when they don't. So you're paying $85 US. It would be $94 US to get it to me in Canada here. That's like $120 for the standee version. And I'm going to say a big fat nope on that one because Ascension Tactics exists. This isn't going to be that different from it. There's just going to be new and exciting characters. And this will likely, I would assume, go to retail, because it's a pretty popular brand. So I assume I would see it in the retail space as well, and you could let somebody else pay for the shipping. Unless you're getting the minis, there seems to be no reason to get it here now, and I think that's what a lot of people are doing, is because they want that huge table presence, and I get it. I mean, too expensive for me, but check it out if you're interested. That's Thursday, March 9th at 7 p.m. Moving along to Agueda, Colorfield, and Donut Shop, 3 amazing new and unique tile-laying games for gamers of all ages by 25th Century Games, bringing these to the market. 25th Century Games going the route of board game tables, all play, and giving you a bundle of little games for a nice bundled deal. But hey, if you like tile-laying games, that's what all of these are. Read the rules, click here. Yes, please. Agueda? Probably Agueda. Keep scraping by Piragua. A bit of a confusing rulebook, but I get the gist of it, enough to talk about it. Everyone's going to have their own little player board here, you can see, with these various rows, and you're going to be taking umbrellas from a main market over here. On diagonal rows, you can take a 1, 2, or 3, and then put them in your space. But in order to take a 3 row, you have to get a coin, and in order to get a coin, well, you got to take only something in the 1 row, and you're going to want to put these in here to score points, and you take your little tourists up here to go and visit and see the beautiful umbrellas on these spaces down here. And then over in this little mini game, you also want to be mindful of these paint brushes, because every time you flip over the two colors, you get an additional tourist, which can then net you more points as you shift things around. And then you're also completing goals and stuff, and person with the most points wins. Seems kind of fun. Bonus promo coins, 20 cardboard tokens to 20 metal coins. That's a good upgrade. That's a nice Kickstarter upgrade, because usually something like that would cost you like $1 a coin or something ridiculous. Still, that one's $49. Then with Color Field, this one's a little bit easier, but we'll check out the rules anyway. Make sure we're on the up and up. All right, very simple. There's going to be tiles out here. You're going to take those tiles, you're going to put them in your own little painting, and you're going to want to make clusters of stuff. So you score points for any time things match. And these twos here are to indicate that you get 2 points every time you match something to that spot. So you match the navy up top, you get 2 points. Match the navy to the side, you get 2 points. Yeah, pretty simple. This is also the least expensive one, which makes sense because it seems like it's the least complex. And then Donut Shop, which is obviously my favorite one, just because I get to look at donuts and think about eating them all like the little piggy boy that I am. Napkin dispenser? Yeah, okay. I'd like to cover myself in sugar, please. Hey, maybe this will make me cover myself in sugar and run screaming through the street. Let's check out Donut Shop. Very well structured campaign page, though. I appreciate that a lot. That's a weird scoring system. Instead of just placing the tile and getting coins for whatever you're touching, it says score 5 cents for each donut of the same type on the tile. So if there was a little diagonal, you could potentially score those for points, but you can also have wilds here, which is how they're getting 30 cents rather. The boxes are a little bit more confusing. Everybody has their own sort of Donut Shop box that you can then use to box up some donuts, and you're going to do that by playing these additional cards. You're going to be collecting these cards, and then you're going to earn points if you manage to put a box of donuts down on stuff that contains those cards that you've been collecting, basically. An overly long way of thinking about that, but we got there. Shipping, all games 17, one game 13. So for your all game bundle, that would be 100 and something bucks. Average is $30 a game. 112, so average is 34 actually a game. But $34 a game isn't bad when you think about it that way. But then, of course, you're getting 3 games that all kind of look the same. I think Agueda looks the most interesting to me. Donut Shop seems a little bit clunky. Agueda seems like there's a lot going on, but it also seems like it's fighting for that Azul spot on your shelf. And I don't know, I'm interested though. I think there's going to be enough pattern grabbing here, but I'm hesitant about the small amount of umbrellas showing, and if the 6 colors will get tiresome after a while. I'm not sure. None of them look particularly bad. I'm just not covering myself in sugar just quite yet. But who knows? The night is still young, or the morning rather, when we're watching this. But if you're interested in that, that finishes Thursday, March 9th at 10 p.m. Next up, we have a game called Pick the Pug, which looks like it's going to be horrible. But it's raised a bunch of money, so I am ready to be surprised. I hope it surprises me more than Sum Duel. Let's check it out. Because we want the pug. We want to lie for the pugs. And if your friends have it, pick it. So sounds like Old Maid. Confusing video. Didn't really tell me much about the game at all. So let's see if this does. I mean, it seems cute. What you really want to look at, where did it go? This summary card that actually gives you more information than their how to play section does. You have 2 symbols here. You're going to be playing 2 monkeys with those symbols, and you get to do that thing, and then you go. See, in your turn, you're going to steal a card, perform an action. If you only have the pug, then you win. If you only have donkeys, you can summon a mythical creature. That's it. Just kind of a take that, grab cards, but I assume you can't show anybody your cards, so you're drawing random cards, and you're going, I didn't get the pug. Wow, why'd you give me this donkey? And all of that sort of stuff. 19 euros, 28 bucks Canadian for the early bird, which there's a few of those left. Then it'll be 24 euro, 35 Canadian plus shipping. Although shipping's decent, 5 bucks, 10 bucks. Yeah, for a small card game, that's what you want to pay. So there you go. If that sounds interesting to you, check it out. I think it's too expensive for what it is personally, but you know, I'm not you. That finishes Friday, March 10th at 2 a.m. Moving along, we have our board game secondary Accessory first, we have the Origins Light, or the Origins Lit. 2 new gaming tables starting at $9.99, which is pretty huge because game theory tables, I think their stuff is really quite nice. I got to see them firsthand in WSBG last year because they sponsored the event, so everybody was playing on their tables. And I thought, yeah, but I've always thought their tables to be pretty expensive. The fact that they're coming in with a price point that is equivalent to what you can find at board game tables, all play, is pretty good, or makes me excited. And this comes with LEDs as well, which feels fun. And free shipping to USA and Canada. That is huge. That is huge for a table, because table shipping will add on another $150 for sure. They're heavy. I don't know if you know this. Whoa, that is big. That's a good thing. And see, this is clever of them. $5. They're making you go in for $5, but honestly, because it's kind of a commitment, I don't begrudge them for that. And they're just flat out going up against Wormwood saying, hey, listen, we're going to give you matching chairs. Free shipping, though, is huge. What is the ugly truth? I like George. He's a nice guy. Let's see what he has to say. Game Theory Tables has only been around for 3 years? That seems nuts to me. I feel like I've heard of them quite a bit, but maybe that's just good marketing. They made poker tables before this. I knew this, but I'm sorry, George, but you're speaking to all of my pet peeves with board game table campaigns. This is quite a good video. I'm on board. Renee, we're getting a board game table. We do not have the space. It is a disaster zone out here, but I almost have an office made out of a closet. And I am so excited, more excited than any little boy could ever be to get into the closet. And Renee is making it for me. Well, I built my desk, so seems like it's me.
Okay, IKEA.
Good video. I mean, you should get into YouTube, George, because you gave a good title and you delivered on the promise to make me keep watching all the way through. Yeah, for the most part, I think that's an awesome video, and it's great that Game Theory Tables is just basically throwing down the gauntlet and being like, yeah, you know what? There are a bunch of other Kickstarters out there that had delays. We've never had them. And if that's true, that's great. I mean, they do say no significant delays and no wild delays, aka there were probably some small delays, but not like a year or 2 years, which feels good. I did really dislike the point about that he brings up here about being careful about international first-time campaigns. And then he brings up a company in Ukraine that shut down because there was a war. Yeah. Do you think they planned for there to be a war? I don't think so. There was a literal war, and it can't fall on the heads of one Ukrainian board gaming table company. But if there were no refunds, then that was real crappy. So I don't know. I don't know that story that he was referencing, but I was like, well, not your best point. However, let's keep on looking at this. I love, as you know, I'm going to be crazy about this campaign anyway because shipping's included. Let's be real. And it feels like there's a decent price point. I do want to see if the topper is included, though, because they made us think about being like, hey, they price it low, and then they say the topper is very expensive. So I'm wondering if the topper is included in this $9.99, because then I'd feel like that was pretty valid. Otherwise, you're doing the same thing that you told people not to do. 4 inches deep. Do you think that's deep enough, Renee?
Do not ask me that.
Feels like it should be at least 4.5 inches deep.
Okay, we're done.
It's the table depth. What were you thinking of? Oh, Renee. For your minis. Is 4 inches a mini? Or is it an average? The Meeples Champion is a 2-inch recess playing area with a magnetic dining top. That's the $9.99 price point. 2 inches you can't really save. I don't know. Nothing with minis, really. No, see, you said optional. I don't like that. Oh, no, it does. It says customizable removal. It seems like the topper is included, plus free shipping feels incredible to me. It really does. No, see, this is disappointing to me. Meeple's Dining Top, $4.99, so it's actually a $1,500 table. What the heck, Game Theory Tables? You made a big stink about saying, hey, people, they hide things in the ugly truth about board gaming is that people include things at a lower price, and then they sell you accessories that feel like they should be included in the price of it for higher. And overcharging for the main accessories. Oh, I see, because you're not overcharging, so it's okay that you're not following this playbook. Is that what you're saying? I'm not into it. I'm very disappointed. See, they just say they're not going to put the dining top at a higher price during the pledge manager, but for me, it was framed as excitement of it being included in the game price itself. Dang. That's too bad. I thought this was the deal of the century. It's still good. It's still good with the shipping prices, but that got me really excited. And then it's an additional $500. That old board game table Kickstarter playbook, it got me again. And it got me on the game theory tables. I think you could find seating cheaper as well. But I appreciate what they're trying to do. I don't appreciate that I was excited, that I thought this was baked into the price. And if it was, that would have been incredible. But it's not, and so it's just, I think probably still a good price, but still standard. Anyway, free shipping is huge. Free shipping is huge, and their logistics team is good. So check that out if you're interested. That finishes Friday, March 10th at 10:59 a.m. Moving along, just quickly, I wanted to check this out. Trudvang Chronicles, because I have Trudvang Legends. This is boasting the most complex minis out there. Yuck. For 90 euros, you can get one dwarf scene of a dwarf encrusted in gold on a mountain. Holy, I don't know how much you pay for your minis, but I certainly don't want to pay $130 for one piece. No, thank you. Let's move on to Napoleon's Conquests, a multiplayer board game set in the Napoleonic times. I love how this says fast-paced combats resolution, and then you scroll through the large chart of different combat resolutions. I guess it's nice to have a chart, but this is clearly a war game, which means it's clearly not anything for me. This is something that's already been printed, so if you want it, you can get it for 69 euros, 100 bucks Canadian, yeah. Well, it tells me it's not a war game or a would-be realistic military simulation. It's an immersive multiplayer experience into the Napoleonic times. Okay, you're trying to break my expectations. I'm interested. I mean, it certainly seems like a war game to me, but they do have the rules midway down the page so you can check it out for yourself. 40 pages of rules that I can tell you right now. I'm not reading through this one. Normally I do. I'm not today. There are a lot of fun buzzwords here, though. There's multi-use cards, and then there's area control and worker placement as well. Yeah, I'm intrigued. If you like this wargame style, it feels like there are some interesting bits here, but it feels like a style of game that I'm not interested in checking out at this point of the night. Sorry, Napoleon's Conquest. We're going to move on, but somebody out there might like it, and if you do, let me know in the comments why you love it. Just to talk about it, we're not going to cover it in case you were looking through and you thought, is that a game? It's an icebreaker game that gives you prompts to talk around the table and say, yes, this thing happened to me. Now we're bonded for life. So if you like that in your games, well, there you go. That's what Scars is. You can go search it because I don't think most people are on this channel looking for that. The only self-improvement you need is feeling better about your life by looking at mine. All right, we'll look at this one because it's got a $5 print and play. If you want a monster solitaire, that's what this is. It's called Puzzle Dungeon Solitaire card game. The intro deck, where you're going to deal out a bunch of monsters according to whatever hero you pick. You're going to pick the types of monsters that they can face. And then you have to match up symbols on the cards to clear that monster. You want to clear through all the monsters so that you get the bonuses and the... Where are they? Where are you? These special treasures, which you can then use. It seems okay. I mean, the downside of using kind of like a four-suited card deck is that the battle system may not feel that interesting. But I like that when you get to the end, you flip over the card, that they're double-sided, and there's a special king side, which will really take you out. Seems kind of fun. Shipping in the US is free if you're getting a physical copy. A physical copy is 20 bucks, or outside it'd be 10 bucks, so 30 bucks. Feels reasonably priced. If that sounds interesting to you, I got called out on doom scrolling of just really giving everybody seizures, so I'll try not to do that. If that's interesting to you, that finishes next Tuesday, March 14th at 10:18 a.m. And wouldn't you know it, we're at the end. I had like 5 or 6 tabs open, but they were all for Wednesday, so we'll cover them in next week's episode. Our last one of the week is Street Fighter V Champion Edition Legends. All right, let's check this out. I like that this is by Colossal. Certainly better than Blacklist games holding the IP to Street Fighter. I know some people over at Colossal who are good people, and I have only had good interactions with their company. I know some people over on our Discord were worried about there being crossovers or an IP being sold, but honestly, I trust Colossal Games until I have any reason not to. So I wouldn't be that concerned if you're interested in this game about backing it and getting your rewards. $75. You know what? For a game that has any minis whatsoever, $75 feels like it could be a decent tier. Plus, I mean, the strength of those standees, if you saw in the video, look at how much they're able to withstand. Can we play that again? A full-on Hadouken. He's still standing. That speaks to the quality of the standees right away. And you know what I friggin' love? Most people on GameFound feature their most expensive tier over here, and this campaign is not featuring that. It's featuring their fighter tier, which is their least expensive tier. $104 Canadian, but still least expensive. And with that, you can get Zangief in a very incredible pose that you probably just want to go ahead and back for anyway. All right, let's see actually how to play and see if it's any good whatsoever. That's probably a good thing when looking into board games. Checking out how to play. I know, it's a foreign concept, but I guess we'll do it just this once. I like this part of upgrading your skills and special abilities. You have your little experience points as you go through. That's always fun. This is fun, though, and it seems like the core of the game will be kind of centered around this. I was worried it was going to be very much like Marvel United, and that was going to make me hesitant personally because I wasn't a fan of Marvel United, because you're going to play 2 cards and you're going to do the actions on those cards, and those actions seem very simplistic. But what is exciting to me are these little combo icons, which you can then connect with your abilities that are on your board. This is showing the lightning kick ability and the upgraded lightning kick ability, and you can play these whenever you want, even on somebody else's turn, because the flow of the game is the active player will play 2 cards, then the Nemesis will take an action and move all the minions, whatever. And then the next active player will go, and this saving up these combos will allow you to play and do stuff on other people's turns, which feels like it would be fun. But otherwise, very simple symbology and simple actions. You can move, you can attack, and it can be short range or long range, and you can gain experience. This is where the parallel to Marvel United kind of comes in for me. You can see the examples here on these cards, and that made me less excited, but the combo system seems to make me more interested and more excited. But even the way the Nemesis acts feels very similar to Marvel United. They're going to activate minions in different areas and move them, and then they also have different abilities before they're revealed, and so you got to make your way through their whole deck before they're revealed, and then you can take them down. So it's $75, and then shipping is $18 or $20 to Canada. The combo tier gives you some expansions. The champion gives you a bunch of stuff that you probably don't even care about. Oh, actually, you may care about that one, because I think you get to have kind of like, again, Marvel United, the anti-heroes, or the uncle heroes, one of them. That was bad even for me. Oh, 4 kings, you just get more fighters. See, this is how they get you. Of course, Blanca and Vega and Balrog are going to all be in here. Ridiculous. How dare you? Because I want that. I mean, let's be real. Blanca is the #1 Street Fighter. It's not Ken. It's not Barbie. It's not even Gambling Barbie or Ryu. It's Blanca, for sure. However, the exclusive content seems to be 1 character. Is that it? Oh no, you get a bunch of new fighters. But these fighters don't seem to be exclusive. I think these fighters are just going to be added to the main game anyway. Kind of what it looks like. Maybe I'm wrong. Somebody let me know if I'm wrong. But yeah, so $100. I mean, $100 is what you would expect to pay for a game with a bunch of minis. Now, there are a bunch of standees and a few minis, but still, the price point doesn't seem that unreasonable to me for what you're getting. Whether or not you're going to enjoy the gameplay, I don't know. It seems like a fairly simplistic... Oh, there's the doom scrolling again. Cut to the top. It seems like a fairly simplistic experience, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something you want to know before going into it. So if you're interested, check that out. That finishes next Tuesday, the 14th at 11:59 p.m. just at the bar for being included in this week. It's like they knew I would cover them, and give people a little bit more extra time than one day. But that's it. That's it for the week. We made it through. Thanks for sticking with me. Every week I do a pick for me and a pick for you. The pick for me is the thing that I am the most interested in, and the pick for you is something that I think will deliver on its promise if you get it. Something that if you're on the fence about, let me push you into the wrong direction and force you to spend your hard-earned cash on something you don't even need and some idiot YouTuber told you was going to be good and then is just fine. That's the pick for you. Sounds like you should really go forward with that. And this is a tough week, honestly. I don't know if there's any picks for anyone at this point. A lot of this stuff looked fine, but the price point and it feels like they're all retail backs. However, I'll go with what I think looks the most exciting mechanically for my pick for me. And that's probably Huang. It is. And that's just because I like Tigris and Euphrates. It's a pick for me because Tigris and Euphrates is on my shelf and I like playing it. And Renee hates playing it, so I don't get to play it as often as I would like.
Did you ever talk about what I do like?
Yeah, I did this afternoon. Lords of Waterdeep.
Love Lords of Waterdeep.
Yeah, I think my pick for me is Huang. It doesn't seem that unreasonable in terms of price. The standard pledge coming in at that €45 feels reasonable to me. It's just you have to pay for the shipping and you probably should wait for retail anyway. But I like Tigris and Euphrates and this is so similar to that. So that's why it's my pick for me. I like the back and forth of choosing what to do on your turn and where to shift your leaders and seeing somebody get so many points in one color and you think, oh man, I really need to fight that person for those points. And then you realize, wait a minute, no I don't. They can get as many of those points as they want. I'm completely fine with that. That actually doesn't impact my strategy whatsoever. So I like that play and that realization that comes to pass when you're playing it. And then the pick for you, I don't think there is a pick for you, honestly. Tentative pick for you is Street Fighter. I think it looks fun. I don't know if it's worth it for the price, but I think this is the version of Marvel United that I would be interested in. Maybe because I resonate with the theme more. No, that's not true. I resonate with Marvel more than Street Fighter. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm getting sucked in here. I think I'm getting sucked in by the character differences. I think with their special abilities, that's where the differences will come with each character. So it might be different. It's my tentative. Honestly, there's no pick for you this week. It's officially no pick for you. Pick for you this week is Trains. It's Trains. I'm filming this the same day where I filmed a episode on Rahdo's channel. We went live and it should be over on Rahdo's channel. I'll put the link to the script in the description if I remember, of the top 15 games that replaced and destroyed other games. And for me, Trains killed Dominion. So yeah, Street Fighter is getting me because of the IP and because it feels fun and that energy about it feels fun, but I don't know if that energy will actually be captured in the game or not. So I'm tentative. I don't think there's a pick for you this week, but hey, I might be wrong. You know what? The pick for you this week is you can make your own dang decision, and I'll try not to talk you out of it for once in my life. That's my pick for you. Let me know if you're backing anything. If you're not, I always like hearing from you. It makes me feel like I'm a part of something, part of a beautiful community, and I just care about you all, but not more than anyone else in this particular room. Anyway, thanks for watching. My name's Chris George. I don't have a catchphrase, and I soon will not have a girlfriend. Okay, bye.